Hi, everybody. Excuse me. This is Dear Mama Sal, and we are live on a Sunday afternoon, which means it's time for us to talk about coping with stress. And for those of you who are in the room already, and those of you who may be watching on the replay, a very good afternoon, evening, morning, whatever time it is, whenever you see this, to you. And also our thanks and appreciation for the fact that you do check in and see what we're up to. Today, for those of you who are aware, we're going to be asking some questions of ourselves in order to help us de-stress a little bit. And all the quotes today are going to be about slowing down. You know, one of the most peculiar things about life when we are overwhelmed is we think that slowing down means we won't get as much done. And yet, funnily enough, focused slowing down means we will achieve much more than we did when we were just in that hamster wheel again, not getting anything done. And so that's what we're going to be talking about today. Remember, if you will, to please follow us on Facebook and on Twitter. That's where we sort of do updates for you. If we hear any news during the week that I think the viewers might want to know about, that is where we do it. So remember, Dear Mama Sal on Facebook and also on Twitter. And the other thing is any sort of suggestions I might make. I just need to make sure you all know, all the regulars know this, but just in case you are new, please understand I'm not a doctor or a therapist or a psychoanalyst or anything like that. I am a human being who has lived quite a few years, and a lot of what I talk about will either be my own experience or some research that I've done that I think might add to the story. So let's start with the first quote, and that is, smile. Breathe and go slowly. Think about that. Smile, breathe, and go slowly. And Jeannie, thank you very much for the question. Jeannie's saying, is that a new top? I love the scoop neck. No, this pink top's been around a while, and like any woman, it's amazing how we say that, isn't it? So first, but thank you. I'm glad that you like it. I like it too. I'm wearing it with white pants because I think that sort of gives it a nice summery look to it. So I hope you like that combination as well. And slightly pink earrings. Do you see that? My earrings are also very slightly pink. So matching day. I like this one. It said, if you're always racing to the next moment, what happens to the one you're in? If we're always racing to the next task, will we be doing the task that we're trying to do properly? Probably not. And I'm going to sort of hopefully walk you through some suggestions. Before we do that, for those of you who are long-term viewers, if you didn't know already, we heard on Friday that Louisiana Lolo passed on Thursday. We don't know from what. It was a shock to all of us, and I'm pretty certain that we all feel the great sadness, but we'll remember with great joy her incredible smile, her wonderful dedication to her family, and of course, her kindness. She was a very kind human being, and we love that. And so, also, if you have the ability, please give some thoughts and prayers for our Bernice, who is struggling a little bit with some stuff that is going on for her over which she has no control. I want to just give birthday updates. We have Lauren's birthday on the 17th. Well, it'll probably be the 16th. That's tomorrow, basically, right, for us, because she's in Australia. Andy's on the 18th, and then Jodie's Lionel on the 19th. If you also have a birthday this week and we haven't mentioned it, please let us know. We keep a database with the birthdays in it, and I do like to acknowledge people's birthdays because I know it's important. Jody's saying, I needed that quote, the one I read just now. And Jeannie's saying, living in the present, not the past or the future. Yes, it's a very important thing if you want to lower your stress level. Stop worrying about tomorrow. Can't change what you did yesterday. Just do the best you can today. Confucius said, it does not matter how slowly we go, as long as you do not stop. Doesn't matter how slowly you go. Just keep going in the right direction. I also wanted to let you know that I heard this morning, about an hour ago, I guess, that my brother-in-law has cancer and that they cannot do anything for him. And, that's, with his age and his pre-existing conditions and everything, they are saying that no more treatment would help him. And that's obviously very sad to hear. And I just, there are no words, right? And you all know that. For anybody who's been through this, there are no words, all right? Yeah, it's a difficult day. But remember, I can choose to put that in a box and close the lid until after the broadcast and carry on with my life. And, just know that there's nothing that I can do to change it. It is what it is. I want to give thanks, as usual, to Lynn, our very quiet viewer, who has great joy in doing thumbnails for us. And there's the little pictures when we put up the warnings and things. And so big thanks to you, Lynn. I just need you to know that I really, really do appreciate it. Did anybody have any fun unboxings this week? I actually did. Let me just get them up. Hang on a second. I got myself a series of 3 of these little containers. And what I did is I took out one of the shelves in my fridge. My fridge is very badly configured as far as I'm concerned. So I took out one of the shelves and now I can stack these higher. All right. And so I bought 3 of these to contain, obviously, lemon and limes. So that works. And I'm beginning to think that I may take out another shelf again and just stack things in a more logical way. I'll see how I am doing. Like a raving idiot, I already have more than enough of everything. And what did I buy? More vegetables, more cheese, more this, more that. And I'm going, why did I do that? Plato said, never discourage anyone who is continually making progress, no matter how slow. So never discourage anybody who's on the right path in your judgment, right? Jody's saying she unboxed her silicone mini baguette pan, so now she can make egg white bread. How nice is that? Yeah, you know something, Jody? I must admit that I've been adding an egg to my bread recently, and it gives it obviously a really nice color. This is my piece of bread for the day, people. But it gives it a really nice, I don't know if you can see, almost a creamy color. And I think helps it rise a little bit as well. Jeannie's saying, tomorrow she goes to the doctor for x-rays on her hips. My left hip seems much worse, much more pain, and I've been doing too much. You know something, Jeannie, I think you remember that a year ago I could hardly walk on my left hip. It was so painful for me. I was definitely limping quite heavily on it, and I was having a lot of trouble going up and downstairs. So, they did do the x-rays and they found out I do have arthritis on that hip. But, if you look at me today, you wouldn't think that. I found that doing just gentle walking every day, as you know I did, helped loosen up that hip. And, I have to say that I don't know what your doctor will recommend to you, but I know that doing daily exercise, obviously you've been overdoing it because you just moved back into your home, but doing daily exercise certainly helped me. And you might want to just think about that if you can. Yes, you've been unpacking and lifting, of course. And hi, Beth. And, I understand that, Jeannie, because I did the same and I did a bit too much when, I can tell you 1,000 times, Jeannie, don't overdo the unpacking, and you're still going to overdo it. All right? So what I want you to think about is it worth it? That, the damage you're doing to yourself just to be finished. I have literally given myself permission not to finish. I am about to do the next phase, to be honest, Jeannie. And for those of you who don't know, both Jeannie and I had fires in our homes. Jeannie was displaced for over a year. I was displaced for about 6 months. And so we both had to pack up our whole house, and then we both moved back in. I moved back in at the end of March, and Jeannie just moved back in a couple of weeks ago. And so, we both had to unpack our whole lives again. And it's not fun. I don't recommend it to anybody, and especially I did it twice in 1 year because I'd only just moved into the house a few months before the fire happened. All right, so for those of you who like learning, you might want to just grab a piece of paper and a pencil because I'm going to ask you some questions, and you might get some things that come into your head that you might want to write down and help yourself this week. Yeah, Janie's saying her kitchen was horrible, boxes, papers everywhere. Now there's only one box left in the kitchen and many boxes in the basement. I'm down to about 20 boxes in the whole house, and they're all in my studio. And I'm going to do something that I didn't think that I would do, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to take those boxes out and put them back in my bedroom, or put them in my bedroom where I've got lots of space now. And then I'm going to make the units that I want in my studio, and then I will unpack from my bedroom into the units once they're built. It's going to be difficult for me because my bedroom has been clear for a couple of months now, so it's but it's the best thing I can do because I know I don't want boxes in my bedroom. Does that make sense to anybody? It's like if they're in my bedroom, I will unpack them. So let's have a couple of questions here. Some of these questions I ask myself quite regularly. They're not what I call rocket science questions, but they're ones that I recommend you ask yourself. And the reason I suggest you have a piece of paper and a pencil ready is because your mind will automatically tell you answers if you bother to listen to it. One of the questions I ask myself is, am I happy? And normally I sort of do a score on 1 to 10. Right? And then I ask myself, what would make me happier? So let me ask you, are you happy? Are you able to say you're happy? And if you are, how do you rate yourself out of 10? And what would make you happier? And I think about that and I go, I'm pretty happy. I must admit. All right. So Beth is saying, I'm only happy when things are going right. Work in progress. Yes. Yes. And Jeannie's saying she's so happy to be in her new home. I'm happy to be alive, and Jeannie, I'm sure you are as well. We both could have died in our fires and we didn't. We luckily were able to get out and tell the stories. So I must admit, though, that overall I am happy. I've been beating up on myself a bit recently over various things. And I sort of took the day yesterday, I took the day off mostly and just stopped doing stuff. I slowed down completely and just said, hey, you need to regroup now. So here's your next question. Am I doing more than I need to? Am I doing more than I need to? And if your answer to that is yes, how can you slow down? What emotional intelligence do you need to slow down? And I would like to suggest that slowing down is critical right now if you are stressed. Jody's saying she's 7 out of 10. That's her happiness quotient at the moment. Thrilled for her opportunity of her new life. For those of you who don't know, Jody had bypass surgery on her stomach and is learning to eat little bits. And so, yes, she says she's a work in progress. What was it you told me you were eating? And I was absolutely, you were thinking about having a Diet Coke. And I'm going, I don't know why, but if you've got a stomach that's that big, those bubbles in the Diet Coke are going to be proportionately very big for a very small stomach. And, that's what I kept thinking. Well, that's going to be interesting. So let us know how that works. How about this one? And take a note if anything comes to mind, all right? Am I setting realistic goals for myself? Am I setting realistic goals? How long is your to-do list? I remember reading Drucker, I think, or somebody like him. Peter Drucker was a management guy in the sort of 70s and 80s. And one of the things maybe it was Lee Iacocca who said this. Anyway, the thing was that I remember that they said, regardless of how long your to-do list is, take, a little piece of paper, and I'm thinking about one about this size, all right? After you've got your big list, and take a little piece of paper and go, what 6 things would I like to accomplish today? Not 106. If you could only do 6, which ones are the important ones for you? All right. And I find that actually works really well. I do also, try and do what I call 1 page for the week, because I find some days I'm really productive on certain things and other days I'm not. So I've got everything stored in a system that I look at, but I then take the important bits for me, because, there are about 5 million things on my list. And I take the important ones and I work on them. And to me, it really helps me slow down quite a bit. And if I can get each day down to 6 things I'd like to accomplish, then I am in control. All right, so Jeannie is saying, and that's an important thing for us all to remember, Jeannie's had trouble with kidney stones, and she's saying, I'm drinking more lemony drinks. So what you're saying is drinks with pure lemon juice in it? I just want to make sure we get it right. We're not talking sugar-coated lemonade. We're talking ice with lemon, I think. Beth's saying her to-do list is separated. One list is for what I need to do. The other is what I want to do. Balancing both is the hard part. Yes, I recommend, if there's any way you can do that, Beth, is I reward myself for the thing I want to do after I've done one of the things that I have to do. So, I sort of juggle that. I totally understand to me, the one that I want to do is my relaxation time after having done the one that I need to do. For example, this morning I was tidying up and getting ready, but on the other hand, I wanted to create something. I've been making Christmas cards, but what I needed was, sort of 5x7 envelopes. And then I thought, maybe I can make them. Right? You know me. Maybe I can make them. And what I had done is I bought some 12x12 very thick cardstock ready for Christmas. And guess what? I found out that I can. And it came out of a 12x12 piece of cardstock, and it's nice and firm. So when I put the Christmas card in here, it's not going to get all bent up very easily anyway. It's much thicker than a normal envelope. So how many of you know, you can imagine how excited I got when it actually worked. But now that I've got the template for this, I can make, bigger envelopes, even if I cut it out of 2 pieces, right? Because now I know how the template works. That's a really good thing. So that was good. The other thing I thought I'd let you know is this is Dougie's birthday present. He's going to be 40 on the 25th. And this is his birthday present. But you will see that I have wrapped it in paper that came out of my unwrapping of the china and glasses and stuff in my house. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to, put some fun things on it. But I decided this year my Christmas presents and any birthday presents are going to get wrapped in that paper. Reuse, recycle. And if I, stencil some things on it or I add things to it, I mean, quite honestly, I think you'll agree, even this with a card on it, it works. So that's good. So Beth, I like the idea that you have 2 separate lists. One is the have to, for you, and the other is the what would I like to be able to do. And as I said, I try and clean up, and then I reward myself. I can go and cut out another envelope. Can't stick it all together yet, but I can cut it out. And then I go and tidy some more. And while I'm tidying, I have it cut out another one. Does that make sense? So that when I get back, I just have to take it off the mat and I can use it. How about this one? Do I feel in control of my finances? Do I feel in control of my finances? And if not, what can I do about them? And while you're just writing down your comments on that, let me go to something Beth is saying here. Yes, Beth is saying on the paper there, adding what makes him so special to you on the plain white paper, kind of fun reading it before you open. What a great idea. All right. What a super idea. And I could cut it out of different color bits of leftover card that I've got. I've got a lot of card stock that I've used on other things and there are bits left over. But what if I printed on that and then just stuck them all over? Or maybe some logos of things, that we did together. We over the years, we've done all sorts of different things together, and I could cut out some logos and stick them on as well. Memories. Memory lane. Absolutely. So that's a great, thank you guys. You see, one of the things I love about doing DearMamaSal is we all help each other get more creative. All right, so Jeannie's saying, I am in control of my finances. My mom was a good example for me. I'm wondering whether you are aware that with the operation that Jody had, she now has to um, take certain vitamins, certain minerals, certain this and certain that, has to take them for the rest of her life. And they are not cheap. And so, Jody, I know that your budget was already tight before the operation. And I also know you knew what you were in for in terms of extra expense. But what is happening right now is everything, the cost of living is going up. And all these things that you thought you'd be able to juggle and afford suddenly are more expensive than you expected. And when you are on a very, very tight budget, which quite a few viewers are, that is not fun. So I hope you're taking a deep breath and saying, I know I can do this. I know that I have to start my shopping list with the things that I have to have, the vitamins and minerals and whatever it is that you have to have. And then we will make a plan on the rest of it. I remember when one of my friends, Jody, was in a really tough situation. And I remember her saying to me, don't overlook the value of spaghetti bolognese. And I said, what? And she said, seriously, the spaghetti bolognese has got all sorts of goodness in it. Lots of vegetables, lots of stuff. And she said, when we were on, rock bottom, we lived on spaghetti bolognese for quite a while. And she said, it kept us going. And so, and again, for those of you who don't know, are any of you interested? Maybe one Friday night I'll actually make spaghetti or something, so you can see you can make your own spaghetti even more cheaply. Spaghetti is pretty cheap, and you can get it on sale regularly. So, but to me, it's about, think about these things. Think about what can you do. And Jody, I'm thinking that it's difficult. It's not easy for you, but it's a no-brainer. Given a choice between certain streaming television and your vitamins that you have to have, they're must-haves, I know what you will choose. So it's like, it's not going to be easy, but you will do it. I know you will. All right, Janie's saying, I had a minor accident with my car. I rubbed against something. Cost was nearly $600 to repair. So we wanted to use our dollars to be happy also. Yes, I just actually am coming to the thing about your painting. I actually have it on my list here, Jeannie, so just bear with me a second. I will talk about it for you. All right, so then I'd like you to have a look at where you live at the moment. I love to do that. I think you all know that. About once a month, I will just walk through my house and go, am I happy with my house? And I've got news for you. I'm sort of happy, but it's getting pretty cluttered again. And I'm about to make it even worse because I'm going to unpack those last boxes. But the thing I'm looking forward to is when I get those boxes emptied, I will basically be done of all the unboxing. And then next year I can worry about what's in the shed or not. I've done without it for a year. So I like to go through the house and go in different rooms. And I recommend you do it about once a month. Take a notepad with you and just, look at your sitting area and go, what would I like to change here? What would make me happier in here? And then just do it room by room. And it's not that you have to do it this year even. It's just like you know where you're headed. And it's really important. And here's the other thing. I also think, okay, if I'm going to do that, one of the things I noticed, for example, last month was that the, what do you call it, the foam seal on my front door um, was disintegrating. So when I looked at it, I went, I'd like to have a proper seal on it. And so what I then think about is, okay, what do I need to do next? I need to be able to buy the seal. Before I buy the seal, I need to research the seal, see what I can find. You know what I mean? And it's just like, okay, that's all I have to do this week is just spend a bit of time, choosing what sort of seal I want to use. And then I ordered it up the next week. And then the following week, I, stripped out the old stuff and put up a new one. So I like to do it sort of like over the course of a month, little bits, little things, not big things, little things, one extra step. The reason Dougie is coming to see me at the end of the month is because it's our birthdays, his birthday and mine within 5 days of each other, but also because he knows I've got a list of things I would like some help with, things I cannot do on my own. And he's coming to help me with it. And so I've got a whole lot of stuff that I keep asking, do I need to do this, or is it something I need to wait for somebody else to help me with? And, I've got extensive list. When Yvonne comes, I bring out the list and I go, okay, you can help me with this and this today. I don't overdo it, just a couple of things, and it really helps me get things done and off my list. Ask yourself as well, am I a good friend? Am I a good friend? Ask yourself that. And if you'd like to be a better one, who do you think you need to be a better friend to this month? All right, so Beth is saying her checklist is someone to love, something to do, something to look forward to. My checklist in my head when I feel overwhelmed, getting back to the basics and forgetting about the other noise in my head. That's why I really recommend getting, those 1,001 things on paper somewhere, right? So you don't have to keep thinking about it. You can just pull it up and, just decide what I want to do this week and what 6 things do I want to start on today. Doesn't mean you have to finish them. Give them 10 minutes or 15 minutes. Just do that. I also ask myself things like, which one room in my house needs a bit of extra attention this month? All right, I don't know if any of you do that one. And I want to tell you, after 2 weeks of contractors in my bathroom redoing things, you'll be amazed, even though I've got freshly painted walls and things, you will be amazed how dirty the baseboards were and how dirty the floor was, even though I was, sweeping it and everything. I gave it a really good wash and I went, wow, that was way dirtier than I thought. And obviously I picked really good tile because it doesn't show that it was that dirty. Hi, Kez. Kez is saying hi. You could write fun facts, what happened on his birthday, and what year. Draw logos of things that came out of his birthday year. Oh, yeah, so whatever year he was born in. I'd have to have help with that. That's a great idea. Yeah, so all sorts of fun things we can do, right? Beth is saying, my bathroom definitely needs attention. Charles, that's her husband, here is your to-do list for the week. I like that even better. Where possible, delegate it. And for those of you who have children, I want to tell you, children are way more capable than you give them credit for. And they're also really good at manipulating you. I want to tell you that I used to I inherited some children at one stage of my life, and one of the things that the children did was that they emptied the garbage every week. And I don't know about you, but I hated nagging them. And so what I would do is I had the system, and it was, hey guys, I hate to nag you to empty your garbage cans, and each one did theirs and one other room. And I said, so I'm not going to do that. I'll give you one reminder. And then one of the children said to me, "What are you going to do after the one reminder, Sal?" I said, "I'm just going to take the things that I wanted empty and empty them on your bed." They went, "What?" I said, "I'll just take the garbage cans that I want emptied and just empty them on your bed, because I did give you a warning. And if you chose to ignore it, that's your right. But I still want those things emptied, so I'll just empty them on your bed." I tell you, you only had to do that once. And I did. And I can tell you the person who was responsible for emptying the kitchen garbage was not a happy camper. And they squawked and moaned and did all sorts of things. And I said, "And now you get to wash your sheets as well." It was just like, because children can do the wash very easily. But like men, they try not to do it well, so you won't ask them to do it again. But, don't get fooled into that one, really. The other thing I do recommend, and I would say this to you, you know, find sort of have, if this is Monday, I concentrate a bit extra time in the bathroom, your master bathroom. If this is Tuesday, I spend an extra 5 minutes in my bedroom. If this is Wednesday, allocate a day, because then you don't have to think as hard. You just go, I don't have to clean the whole house today. I just need to spend a bit of extra time in what day is it? Wednesday, the laundry room. Do you understand? It's just like, it makes it so much easier that you don't have to do everything all the time. The other thing, please remember that it's so much easier to do things at night when you're watching a show or something. All right, I do a lot of cleaning up in my kitchen, reorganizing my fridge and doing stuff like that in between programs that I'm watching. Even if I'm streaming, I have this thing which says I'm allowed to watch one episode, but after that I need to get up for half an hour. And my reward is, after I've finished half an hour of doing whatever, I can then sit down and watch another one. You see, if we do it that way, life becomes a lot easier. Being slow means that you control the rhythms of your own life. You decide how fast you have to go in any given context. If today I want to go fast, I go fast. And if tomorrow I want to go slow, I go slow. What we are fighting for is the right to determine our own tempos. Yeah, and Beth is saying she does the same thing, all right? Commercial time, get up and clean for 2 minutes. Yep, and it's amazing what you can get done, am I right? I can empty the shelf in my fridge in 2 minutes. And then the next commercial break, I can clean it. Actually, I had one that took 2 commercial breaks because I actually had to put a wet cloth on it. But and then the next one I put it back, and then I wipe everything before I put everything back on the shelf. So it works pretty well. When we are calm and unhurried and free from stress and distractions, the brain slips into a richer and a more nuanced mode of thought. Some call this slow. Some call it slow thinking. And the best minds have always understood its power. I don't know if you know this, but Einstein used to spend large amounts of his day sitting and staring into space. Any idea why? He literally would sit and stare into space. And if you passed him by, you'd probably think he was pretty slow. But we all know he was a genius. And what he did was he slowed his brain down enough and made room for the ideas that he needed to come to him. I think that's pretty exciting, don't you? Okay, so now then, did any of you have any achievement this week which lowered your stress? I scored. I don't know if you can get it in the States. I'm pretty sure you probably can. But I found they now make a no sugar added maple syrup. And that is, oh, it's even got a Canadian flag on it. But I want to tell you, I am so happy about that. I now can have guilt-free pancakes, which I don't often have, but now I can do it with a lot less guilt. And the other thing is, I've spoken about this before, but I just want to keep reminding people, try and eat yogurt every day because it's good for your digestive. But I don't like the taste of a lot of yogurt. But I put in a teaspoon, no more, a teaspoon of no sugar added jam. And it just makes it such a nice taste that I actually enjoy it. Uh, I did another great thing this week that really lowered my stress level. Just so you know, above me here, there is a skylight, and I could see that there was a blind that you could pull over. And I have been scared to do that for fear that it would break, or I'd get it halfway open and then it would jam and I wouldn't be, all those sort of things. And then on Wednesday, I went to lunch with, no, Thursday, I went to lunch with a couple of the girls, women here. And we were talking about, how difficult it was with this second heat wave that just came in, with those of us who've got skylights. And one of my neighbors said she just made herself a skylight cover, and she made it with the stuff that you put down to discourage weeds, that black stuff. And she did it with dowels and she clipped it up. And I went, something, I've got something. And and the thing was, the reason I couldn't do it was it was too high up and I didn't want to get up on a ladder. And then when I was talking to her, I realized all I needed was a hook on the end of a broom, and then I could pull it. And that's what I created, and it works. And it really works well to keep some of the sun out of my kitchen. However, for those of you who watch me do 2 broadcasts on Friday, and one of them was cooking, it was 94 in my kitchen on Friday, just so you know. All right, so Beth is saying, oh no, Jeannie's saying she was lector today. That was good. And then Beth is saying that she scored some Canon jar lids for a customer when she was at a different dollar store, and she bought them for him, and he came by the store and paid me back for them. He's a lifetime customer now. I've always said that. Go the extra mile for a customer, and they will follow you almost anywhere. All right. And he's going to bring her some stewed tomatoes. Kez is saying, she also has a list of things that I'm ignoring, procrastinating, and things I'll do tomorrow. I want to tell you something. That's a very important list. It takes great emotional intelligence to have that list. Do you know that, Kez? And if you want to really build your character, you will start each day with something off that list. By the way, Kez, I give you full permission to have things on there for quite a while. I have been trying, and I have been trying, since I got back, to get my printer in my craft room to work. For some reason, it was no longer talking to my Wi-Fi, and every week I tried a bit more. It came up every week, and every week I'd take another step, and I still wasn't getting there. And then yesterday, I decided, short word, I am going to hardwire it into my computer. In other words, what I wanted to do was to have it working with Wi-Fi. And I'm going to just hardwire it like we used to in the old days. And then I went to see, what I wanted, a long wire about 15 feet. And when I saw it, I recognized the connections. When I looked up and said, what one do I need for this particular printer? I recognized that look. And I went rushing to my, I've got this bunch of leads. And I looked for that thing, that particular shape, and I got that one. And when I went all the way down, I realized it was long enough, and it came all the way back up again. It was a long enough lead. I didn't need to buy one. And then I thought, I wonder if it works. I took it. I took it to the printer, and I plugged it all in. And then earlier in the week, I spent a little bit of time trying to fix it. And I had printed out everything to do with getting that printer to work. I printed it out because sometimes you've got to slow down enough to read the instructions bit by bit. Do any of you relate to that? It's like you can't rush it. You've just got to literally read the first sentence and check it and go, okay, I did do that. And the second one. Well, somewhere in there, in all that was printed, I realized the problem wasn't with the printer. It was with my computer. My computer wasn't talking to the printer. And I had a special app in the computer which would automatically match my printer to the Wi-Fi. And then I remembered that, of course, I had moved. And when I moved, I changed the IP address of the connection. Then I think I need to go and double check my IP address. Maybe that's what's wrong. Anyway, I ended up fiddling left, right, and center. And guess what? I have a printer that works now. And I'm going to get really brave tomorrow. I'm going to disconnect those leads because I think I've actually got the Wi-Fi working. So exciting. Do you think that lowered my stress a little bit? But it took me April, May, June, July, August, 5 months to get there. But it stayed on that list. I never took it off the list. Now I'm going to start getting the second printer to work. That one's going to be a lot easier. That's the one I use in the winter when I sit near the fireplace. Slowing down does not indicate that you are giving up. It simply means that your soul is seeking some well-earned recharge. How many of you know that you run on empty a lot? All right. And my feeling is, how can you possibly keep up being productive if you're not resting well enough? One of the things I want to tell you, how many of you have watches that tell you how well you sleep? Jody does, I know, and some of you. Hi, Fari, good to meet you. If you want to lower your stress level, get more sleep. All right, but it's not just get more sleep, it's get the right sleep. I noticed, for those of you who know Lauren from Australia, she and I put up our sleep pattern every day to each other, right? And her sleep pattern just used to drive me insane. She's awake here, and the next thing you know, she goes into deep sleep, right? I mean, it is amazing. And she travels down here a bit, and then she comes up a bit, and then she comes up and up and up, and then she comes down a bit more, and then she wakes up. Absolutely amazing sleep pattern. And hang on, I want a different color pen. By comparison, mine looked like this. I'd start sleeping here and I'd go to about here and I'd travel a bit and then I'd wake up again and then I go down here a bit, then I go up here and then I go down here a bit more and then I wake up again. And, by the way, I do many trips to the washroom and then, then I'd wake up. So that's what mine looked like versus this one. Now, I know you're not going to believe me, and that's okay, but I'm going to tell you what I did. Because how many of you know I was jealous of this? Jealous in a nice way, not a negative way. That was my goal. I wanted to be able to go to sleep and drop down into deep sleep like that. So now I knew what my goal was. And then, being me, I researched all the ways to do that. How do you go from awake into deep sleep? So I did a bit of research into that. And the funny thing is, what I do. All right, so listen up simply. This is what I do. I go to bed and I intentionally do not try to sleep. I go to bed and I have certain games that I play for half an hour. All right? But I'm lying down. And then after half an hour of playing some games lying down, I then start to read on my cell phone for half an hour. And as soon as I'm going to start yawning now just because I'm talking about it. Apparently, just talking about it works. But the funny thing is, as soon as I start to yawn as I'm reading, I smile and I go, apparently I'm getting close to being ready to go to sleep. And so I'll carry on reading until I yawn some more. And then when I sort of, realize that I'm sort of nodding off, then I put the phone down and then I turn over and go to sleep. And guess what? It worked. Simply try reading. And don't say I am wasting time, I should be sleeping, because both Jody and Lauren will tell you, because they see my sleep pattern every day. My sleep pattern has totally changed because of it. And I used to get maybe 10 or 15 minutes of deep sleep, if any. And now I think yesterday, was it Jody? I did an hour and a half. And I'm going, that's the most I ever got. And the reason is I am setting it up now. Even if I sleep less, the way in which I sleep is much more beneficial. Does that make sense, simply? So, I'd like to sleep for 8 hours a day. But if I sleep 8 hours and all of it's up here, and no deep sleep, it's not going to be of a lot of value to me. I would far rather sleep 6 hours and go and come down here and then work my way back up. Even if I get up, which I do during the night, I'm in an age where that happens. It's great quality sleep, yes. And, it just takes a bit of effort to do that. Carl Honore, who I thought was the guy from Hurricane Katrina, but he isn't. I don't know which Honore he is. Jody will probably find out for me. But it's not Carl, or not the Carl that I'm about to quote. Why? Because I checked it. I thought, boy. Anyway, here's what he said. When we are calm, unhurried, and free from stress and distractions, the brain slips into a richer, I've told you this already, all right, more nuanced, more mood of thought. Some call it slow thinking. The best minds have always understood its power. So again, I've read it again, but boy, it's so important. Russell Honore is the one from Katrina. Thank you, Jody. I appreciate that. I think you're right. All right. And Kez is saying, how to sleep tip number 2. She heard is for 5 minutes before going to sleep, write down all the thoughts that run around in your brain. Right? Yeah, very important. That's why I document a lot of my thoughts. And that's why I need a really good program to be able to contain it all. And the one that I have is just works really well for me because it's easy to go into it and find. I just have to give it one word and it'll bring back everything that has that word in it, and that's really good for me. Jennifer West said, "Don't be afraid of taking the slow lane in life, right? It brings more happiness." And simply, may I just ask you, just in case, did you just happen to find us today, or did you come in? You've been watching for a while and you just came in and decided to join us. And is there anything in particular we can help you with? And what I'm going to do is ask the other viewers here on in the chat at the moment to just let you know where they live roughly and how old they are, just so you can get an idea. While you're doing that, I thought I'd just talk to you a little bit about something that's in the news. I'm certain you've all heard that Afghanistan is now totally controlled by the Taliban. They overtook the capital this morning. And I'm certain that you're wondering, how on earth did this happen? Well, it's a really peculiar thing because statistically, it shouldn't have happened. Statistically, the US trained over 300,000 Afghanis to protect their country. The Taliban only had 75,000. But the one thing that nobody factored in, without the US leadership, would they fight? And it has been proven, no. They ran. They ran first. And so it is really important to understand the failure was not in what the US did. The failure was in the fact that they never dreamt that the Afghanis wouldn't stand up and fight for their country. And whilst they expected the Taliban to gain some ground, they didn't expect systematically that town after town people would run. And it's pretty frightening, pretty frightening. I then decided I'd do a bit of research into what happened, and I wanted to share it with you because I think it's something we all need to make sure we understand. Back in 2020, then President Trump and the NATO allies agreed to formulate a deal with the Taliban. And I'm reading from that deal, the peace agreement, right? Allowing for a formal withdrawal of the US combat forces from Afghanistan, right? So that was part of the peace deal, that the US would leave. It wasn't a surprise, it was what was expected. Under the terms of the agreement, the Taliban, in turn, promised to not allow Al-Qaeda or any other extremist group to operate in the areas that they control. All right, so it was expected that the Taliban would take over. But the agreement that was done was that you can have it, but you need to make sure you don't let the Taliban, don't let the Al-Qaeda back in again and other extremist groups like it. All right? The deal, titled "The Agreement for Bringing Peace to Afghanistan," saw US and NATO forces being withdrawn in earnest and set deadlines for a complete withdrawal by the US forces by the 1st of May 2021. So that was already on the books during President Trump's time, that there would be a takedown to zero by May. All right? This isn't something that was unexpected. It was a takedown to zero. All right. Then President Trump left open the possibility of a renewed war effort if the Taliban were to violate the terms of the agreement, promising that if the terms were broken, i.e. if they let Al-Qaeda back in again, we will go back with a force like no one's ever seen. Now, that's Trump language. And so I don't know if you all knew that, all right, that it was actually what happened was planned, right? It wasn't that, anybody did anything strange. That was the deal that then President Trump did with the Taliban. We will leave by May 31st, and you can take control. And they did. Pretty easy. I don't know about you, but I seriously pray for the families of all those that were lost in Afghanistan, trying to bring democracy to Afghanistan, trying to bring freedom to its women. And so many people died doing that, as they did in Korea, as they did in so many other places. And I am certain there are many parents going, what was the point of my son or daughter giving their life if this is the outcome of it? And I don't have an answer for that, except the United States spent 2 decades trying to bring peace there. Yes, and Jodi's saying political asylum needs to be offered to the women and children by every country around the world. Yes, but with all due respect, Jodi, under Sharia law, they don't have the right to leave without the husband's permission, I believe. You might want to check that out. As far as I know, under Sharia law, because I've had viewers write to me about that, they cannot just get up and leave. They have to have permission from their husband. And the whole thing is to keep women stupid. That's why they don't want them going to, when I say stupid, but uneducated, they want them uneducated and, quite honestly, slaves. They are slaves, be that house slaves or bed slaves. So it's not a good scenario for the women and children, but they will have had 2 decades of feeling what that is like to be free. So the question is, will there be some way to help them? I hope so. I was saying on Friday, if any of you are feeling sorry for yourself, we are about to see the start of the Paralympics as opposed to the regular Olympics. And if ever you want to change your mindset about what you're capable of doing, and all you need is to change your mentality, watch the Paralympics, watch people with, little to no arms or legs, do things that you couldn't do with yours. Watch them run on those, incredible blades that they've built, because they don't have legs. Watch them fence from a wheelchair. Watch them do these things and say to yourself, what's my excuse? Because I have never in my life been able to watch the Paralympics and not been motivated to get off my chair and my rather fat behind and do something with my life. And I urge you all to do the same. All right, so if anybody's got anything particular that they'd like to talk about, this would be a good time to do it. Otherwise, I'm just going to carry on. So in your life, what has caused you stress that you would like some help with? I did find, and I want to say that, I did find that this whole Taliban thing was a bit stressful for me. But once I did the research to actually find out what that peace agreement said, I went, there are no surprises. It's what was in the peace agreement said, you can take it over. Just don't let Al-Qaeda back in or any other extremist group. So, why was there such a big surprise that it happened? Yes, that it happened so quickly. But you know what happened? And I did a bit of research on that as well. From what I understand, how can I draw this for you? From what I understand, if this is Afghanistan, I'm not quite sure of its shape, it's something like that. When they did that peace agreement a year ago, when they signed up, what the Taliban did, it didn't send a big army out to go and everywhere. It sent a few people out to every single district. All right. And they set up groups and waited. They set up groups. So every single major town, village, whatever, had a group of the Taliban in there. And they trained and they waited. And as soon as the US moved, and I don't mean a few troops, when the majority were gone and they were down to these last ones, remember it was meant to happen at the end of May, they waited. They waited all the way till August. Why? Because the US didn't totally do the drain down until August. And then as soon as that happened, they then said to all of these people, take over your town. And they were already in place. They were already ready to do that. And they did it very quickly. All right, Jody's saying, I could use help with the guilt I have about the cost of vitamins. It's still new to me, but I'm struggling with feeling worthy of using that much of the budget that could go to something else. All right, Jody, do you want to die? It's the second time in my life I've asked you that question. Does Lionel want you to die? I don't think so. Okay, those vitamins are not a maybe. You discussed this with Lionel beforehand, and he knew. Right? This is not a new thing. So your problem is you can't accept it. And all right, Jody, here we go. Is feeling guilty about it changing anything? Will the prices get cheaper while you beat up on yourself and feel sorry for yourself? I mean, will that help the prices come down? Will it help your relationship to keep saying, I am so sorry, I didn't mean this to happen? No. Will it change anything that you feel guilty? No. Lionel knew it was coming. He's a smart cookie. And I'm pretty certain that when you actually knew what you were going to have to feed yourself in ways of vitamins, that came pretty... When did you first hear about that? I mean, was it a year ago, 6 months ago, last month? When did you hear the actual vitamins that you would need to be able to survive? Jeannie's saying Lionel loves you and wants you to be healthy. Lionel loved you enough to give up work to look after you, Jody, when you got sick. I think he knows what's going on. In February, you knew the cost. All right? So March, April, May, June, July. You've had 6 months of knowing the cost. You've had 6 months of knowing that the costs were going up. Because I'm pretty sure the costs in February were not the costs in July. All right? And I can tell you without a doubt that the costs you have in August are not going to be the same costs that you will have next August. So maybe as you get healthier, maybe we send Lionel back out to work. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, get creative here. Get well enough so Lionel can go back to work if he wants to. Start finding what you can do. All right? Yes, you need to buy ahead, but you have a limited budget with which to do that. So, as I said, what I really believe is if you need 20, buy 30. You know what I mean? Or if you need 20 and there is a deal on 50, buy the 50 and, change the meal plan. I wanted to tell you one thing that happened to me this week that really made me smile. Actually, it happened last week. I walked into the post office to pick up the parcel that Jeannie so kindly sent me. I don't know if I told you guys this, but I had a mask on and I stood in line, and Mary Jo, one of the ladies that works at the post office little depot that I go to, looked up, saw my eyes and my hair, and said, "Hi, Sal," or "Hi, Mama Sal." I think she calls me Mama Sal. And I said, that is amazing to me. When I know that my most distinctive feature has to be my smile, that she recognizes me from my eyes and my hair. And she said, well, your voice does have a lot to do with it. And I was chit-chatting to somebody. But it sort of lowered my stress for the day when I thought, isn't it lovely to be that recognizable? That and that they get to see the joy in my face when they use my name. So when you look at it, all right, we all are busy trying to go to get things done. And I hope that you can see that if we just slow down a little bit, as I did. Remember, I printed out the instructions for my printer, the ones that I needed to set up the Wi-Fi. And then I said, every day I'm going to read one more sentence until it works, right? And, the funny thing was, in less than a week, I had it working. And I'd spent months trying to get it to work. So it was because I slowed down. And I don't quit. I mean, those of you who've known me a long time, I don't quit. It's just like it has to be possible. I'm not punching the right buttons at the right time. And so, can you see that some things may stay on your to-do list or on your procrastination list or on your I don't want to do it list for a long time? But how many of you have had that happen where you've had something on the list for a long time and one day you get up and you just do it? I'm not quite sure how that comes about, by the way. But I think it's just like, the universe is turning this way and you're turning that way. And that's the day it all comes together. And then you go, I just drop everything else and that's what I'm going to do. All right. If you think about it, I started cutting cards for Christmas cards back 2 months ago, or I think it was 2 months ago, right? And now I've got the cards done, but now I'm busy going, have I got the envelopes? Right. Kimmy's saying, my printer says that there is a paper jam all the time, and there is no paper jam. All right. Now, I can tell you the answer to that one, if you would like it, Kimmy. I would like to say there is no paper jam where you can see it. And the reason I say that was I used to be a paper jam expert in my life. And most printers, Kimmy, I don't know if you've found this out with yours, most printers at the back, there is a panel that you can take off. And you can see more of the workings. And you will find out if you can take that off. And just read the instructions. And it's normally a bypass route that you can go. If you've got very thick paper or something, there's a bypass route at the back. And if you take that off, you will find that there's the tiniest little piece of scrap. You know what I mean? It's like, you'll find there's a little thing like this on one of the rollers or caught on one of the rollers. And that is making it read that you've got a paper jam. Believe you me, I have taken apart more printers than you can think of. But read the instructions, and if you're not happy looking at it yourself, have a friend do it with you. But have you Googled the name of your printer and the fact that it keeps saying you've got a paper jam? Right? If you've got a Brother printer, I would say, how do I clear the message that says paper jam on my Brother 642? All right, then I would contact a Brother supplier, or the manufacturers. I'd send them an email and tell them what your problem is and ask them what you should do. All right? Because you will find there is a door. Look under the printer. Yes. So you look under the printer, and somewhere there's either something you can unscrew or there is a door that opens up. But make sure you're doing the right thing. The other thing is, go to Staples or somebody who sells the printer. It's an HP 7600. Okay. I've got the 7100. So that's a big printer. That's a 3-in-1, right? All right. So HP are wonderful about solving problems. Write to their customer service and ask them. Or go to write to the store or visit the store where you bought it. I don't know where you bought it. And they might even know. But I would, quite honestly, HP is so good with their printers. And, the 7000 series, is a really good series. And, as I said, it's a 3-in-1 series, as far as I know, where you can use it to scan, you can use it to print, you can use it to do all sorts of things. It doesn't make tea or coffee yet, but it's getting close. And and it needs a bit of help getting back online, I've discovered, if you happen to move. But, it's like there is something there, and you think you can't see the panel, but you just don't know what you're looking for. So the trick is, to get somebody to take a picture of it. And if Jody reminds me, I will also see if I can find, where that panel is. But, I might be able to see it on mine, for example. But I don't want to lift mine up too much, but it's good. Thank you for mentioning it, though, Kimmy. And it's easier than you think. So have you taken out... All right, Jody also has a 7 series HP. The customer service is great. That's what I found as well, the customer service. Have you been in touch with customer service, Kim? That's what they're there for. But again, it's one of those questions where, everybody, has had a problem, and it's just like, it's amazing how frustrated we get instead of just getting them to help us. Yeah, I find, even if you write them an email, they've probably got an email contact that you can get hold of, and just literally send them exactly what's wrong and go, and I normally just say, do you have any suggestions? All right. And, if possible, send me diagrams so I can see what I'm doing. But you're not the first person to have that problem. I can guarantee you are not the first person to have that problem. And I would love to know, when you eventually find it, was it a stupid little bit of paper like that stuck somewhere? I can remember where I used to work, we had a huge printer. It had like 16 different drawers to it and goodness knows what else. And it was always having that problem. And people would try and clear it. And then you just hear them say, get solved. People didn't, people didn't want to call me, it was sort of like, I refuse to do this. I don't want to call Sal, because it means I failed. And it used to be a big joke. But eventually they'd call me and I go, oh, And, I do exactly the same things that they did, but guess what? I was looking for something different. I wasn't just opening up something and just going, oh, there's not a piece of paper in there. I was looking, is there a tiny little piece of paper in there? Somewhere caught that and I literally would look at every roller and every possible place where a little bit of paper could get stuck. And then I'd go in with my long tweezers and get it out. And Jody is saying sometimes reconnecting the printer to the router will reset the error message. I am not reconnecting mine to the router again, Jody. But I don't have that problem. Yes, that's another thing. Maybe it is cleared, but the error message. All right. So, but customer service will help you with that as well. But yeah, good for you, Kimmy, for mentioning it. That's how you get solutions, is when you talk out your problems. Great. So I'm hoping that we can all slow down a little bit. How many of you can feel that the pressure of, is it just me? I can feel the pressure of summer coming to an end in a month or so. And I can feel the pressure building that if I don't get certain things done now, I might not be able to get them done until next summer. Do any of you have that starting up? And it's really interesting to me how that's beginning to build. And so again, what things am I going to let go of until next year? And what things absolutely have to be done? Yes, Jody's saying I'm already in autumn mode. That means that you are very well organized, Jody. Very well organized. All right. I'm already in autumn mode in terms of what am I going to get for my garden for the autumn. That I'm already started. I've already started putting things in. I'm already thinking, how many of you have started thinking, what clothes do I need for the autumn? Maybe it's time for a new pair of shoes, or maybe a pair of Wellington boots. It's like, when you think about it, there are certain things that, come up in autumn. Is it time for a new coat? In which case it's time to start saving for one. And again, remember, Christmas is going to come faster this year. Why? Everything will be late and more expensive. So if you can get a head start on Christmas, I recommend it. The prices you can get things at today are a lot better than the prices you're going to be able to get in November. Or December will be a whole nother story. And remember that stores are going to want to recoup the money they lost. Hi there, Karina. Good to meet you. Karina's saying, Mama Sal, I'm going to be a grandmother for the first time. My daughter's 13 weeks pregnant. How exciting is that? Well, we pray that everything goes well. And Karina, whereabouts are you from? I didn't see where. Hang on a second. Where Simply was from. Did she tell us? I presume it was a she. You're from Arizona. Okay, it's pretty hot down there as well. Well, welcome. And you're 44. Okay. And I'm from, you probably know where I'm from. How did you find us, Karina? It's always wonderful. I love it when new people, pop in and actually start talking. All right. So I'm from south of Vancouver in British Columbia. If I stretch my left arm out, I can almost touch the border. Not quite, but you know what I mean. Yeah, you know me through Benji and Judy. Okay. Yeah, I don't think Simply mentioned her location either. So, Karina, it's wonderful to meet you. And by the way, Karina, seeing as you know me through Benji and Judy, Benji is busy saying, "Mama Sal, can I come visit?" You know, and I've asked him just to hold off for another week or so because I'm just not sure how safe it is, not only for him but for me and the people that I know as well. Well, it's nice to meet you as well, Karina. And, it's always a pleasure. And please know that you can write to me anytime. All right. I will get back to you just as soon as I can. Just write to me at dearmamasal@gmail.com if you've got anything that you need some help with. And, I'm sort of looking at it all and going, it has been such a weird year. Can you believe it? Baby Leah is, over 1 already, and I've never met her. And it's just like, mind you, I've talked to her and she's tried to grab me through the computer screen. There's something about my voice and she keeps going like this at me. Yeah, really. And, I don't talk to her that often, but when I do, she's sort of like if I say she's like a dog, I don't mean that in a rude way, but she sort of goes, it's so cute. Whereas Juliana just, blows my mind. I keep going, yeah, Juliana's going to be dating by the time I see her again. She's growing up so fast. Well, I want to tell you something, Karina. Were you around when they had Juliana? Because I can assure you, Juliana was the cutest baby in the world. I mean, she was gorgeous from the get-go. I always remember seeing that first picture of Juliana, and I went, who drops a baby that looks that good? It's just like, really? And when you think of the problems that Judy had producing Leah, I mean, they rushed her into emergency operation as soon as they got Leah out. It was just like, seriously, that was not fun. And look at her. And she definitely has the Travis lungs, doesn't she? Whenever I see a clip of her and she's, full vocal, as I call it, I go, oh yeah, those are the Travis lungs. All the girls have got them. Mm-hmm. And I had to learn to ignore the noise level, because in my family, we were not allowed to do that. We were, we would get a clip if we were that loud inside. I'm not joking, no. So when Juliana was first born, and I went down a few times, and she started to do the lung thing, and I'd sort of go, and I go to Benji, I say, I'm really having a problem now. And he'd go, why? Mama Sal, why? And I'd say, because I was not allowed to scream like that. And well, hi, Christy. Good to meet you as well. Well, hi there. How did you find us? Anyway, so, I was brought up that little girls should be seen and not heard. And that was from when I was this high. It was just like, no way was I allowed to scream. Ever. And so, yeah, you get a whooping for that. Exactly, Karina. And not just one. You get the return one as well. Oh, you have ADHD. Yes, well, I think I do a bit as well. Yeah, and Kimmy's saying she was raised like that as well. So you see, and look at us. We survived. But you can imagine what it was like for me when, when I'd go down there and Juliana was having a little hissy fit in full lungs, both lungs going full blown, and I'm going, boy, is she going to be have a beautiful set of lungs. And then, I learned you can ignore it. And I mean, it was amazing to me. Oh, Christy's saying, I watch random live streams and your stream was recommended. Do you know what we do, Christy, just so that you're aware? I'm delighted to hear that I was recommended. Just quickly, Christy, we do 3 broadcasts a week. I'm glad you clicked as well, honey. We do 3 broadcasts a week. Friday lunchtime, Pacific time. We do coping with feelings, where I will take a subject around feelings and we talk about it as a group. Friday evenings, I'm busy doing a series on how to be more creative using less money cooking. All right, so every week I'm doing something new like that. And then on Sunday afternoons, by the way, that's 7:00 on a Friday evening. And then on Sundays, we do coping with stress. It looks like life advice. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. DearMamaSal is about coping with love, life, and other problems. So whatever it is. And by the way, I am not perfect, Christy. You do know that. But we've got a whole group of us that get together and we hold each other's hands as we go through life. So make sure you subscribe here and give it a thumbs up so other people will find it. And then also, Christy, make sure you follow us on DearMamaSal on Facebook. And then also on Twitter. All right. Now, the other thing is this, Christy, don't worry if you can't be here. Know that every broadcast I do stays on. All right. I don't take it down. So, there's different subjects every week. And, feel free. A lot of people put them on and go to sleep with them. You know what I mean? Because they like the sound of my voice, but also they're learning. So this week, today, I don't know how much of today you caught, but we were talking. We were talking a lot. What was I talking about, people? Yeah, we were talking about slowing down. Because we just take life on too quickly. I didn't see Rinsky this evening. So Rinsky, if you happen to see this, I'm busy waiting for you to ask me, am I going for dinner? And I'm not. Normally I go to Chinese dinner on a Sunday night, and I am not going to be doing that this evening. We had a really busy week. The people I go to dinner with on a Sunday have had family and all week, and they've been really busy. And now I'm actually going to get off the broadcast. And I think tonight I am going to treat myself to some. Oh, I didn't tell you this bad story of the week. Wait, people, wait. Have you ever had one of those days where you craved sugar? Now, I'm trying to lose weight and eat better and everything else. And unfortunately, these were on sale at my supermarket this week. And I love these. Now, I'd show you what they look like if there were any left. But they're normally multicolored little doodads, with licorice inside. They're very small. They look like rat droppings, but, they're very, very tasty. And they were on sale. So, of course, I didn't get one packet. I got 2. So last night, I'm sitting watching a movie, and I thought, oh, I think I'll have a few of these. Now, who was I kidding? I'm one of those people, if I open up the bag, I'm not going to stop until it's gone. And I know I'm pre-diabetic, Christy, so you understand, I know of what you speak. So anyway, I, during the course of the evening, finished the whole bag. But then, because I was talking to Jody about it, I drank a lot of crushed ice and milk after it. All right, lots of liquid afterward. Now, for those of you who are diabetic, you can probably imagine I was terrified as to what my blood sugar was going to be like this morning. But it got worse. I know you are not going to believe me. 3 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, I got the other packet. And guess what I did? Inhaled it. 3 o'clock in the morning. I already knew this was bad for me. So this morning, when I went to take my blood sugar, can you imagine I was shaking? And the most amazing thing was, it was 7.4 in Canadian. That would be 133 in American. I went, that I can cope with. Oh, I want to tell you something, Christy. They weren't just a little bit delicious. They were awesome delicious. Both packets. I know. 7.4. I can prove it. Now, will it go up a bit more, as it all goes through my body? But I'm going, oh, that was good to know. That was good. Now, to be fair, I am going to try and make sure I have lots and lots of liquid tonight. I will be having I probably will have soup for dinner rather than a big meal. And I made some carrot ginger soup on Friday, and I'll probably have a couple of cups of that with a little bit of sourdough bread. Where's my slice? Right, my slice of sourdough bread that I made. And I just couldn't believe that when I took my blood sugar and I went, wow, but what a great thing to know that it was possible. Oh, yes, I want to tell you something. The other thing that I haven't done yet, because I thought I'd wait until after I got a chance to relax after the broadcast, was to see what my blood pressure is today, because these things have a lot of sodium in them. I can't read. 5% sodium. So, I'm going two whole packets of these. That's a lot of sodium. So again, Jody, what do I need to do to level out sodium? I'm thinking, if I were cooking and I had too much salt, I would use potato, but I don't think that's a good thing necessarily. Anyway, lots of water. There we go. Yeah, Christy, you're right. We hate how everything has sugar in it, but it does. And for me to eat it intentionally, I work so hard at not eating it. But I must admit, I am unfortunately somebody that loves sugar. But it is what it is. Complaining about it won't change it. What will change it is a lot more of these. And if I drink enough water, it'll level out and I'll be fine. So you see, Christy, I'm not a perfect person. I hope that's okay. There are quite a few of us who are pre-diabetic or diabetic, quite a few. You're type 2, you're off medication. Well done. Jody, you were type 2 and you're off medication as well now. I'm learning from the best, Christy. You see, I have an unfair advantage. And I don't know about you, Christy, but when my doctor said to me, Sal, I need to tell you, you are pre-diabetic. And I said, wow, really? And he said, you are the only person that I've ever told that to that looked happy. And I said, I got away with eating Mars bars for 72 years, or 71 years, I think it was. And I said, really? Why would I not be happy? I've been a sugar freak my whole life. And I got away with it for that long. I think that's something to celebrate myself. It's just like, really? And then he started to tell me all the things I couldn't do. And I said, I'm not interested in what I can't do. Tell me what I can do. And that's how we're doing it, right? And Jody and the rest of the viewers that are diabetic have helped me so much. And I now know not to panic if I have a sugar day. I know not to panic. I know that it's just, now eat properly for a week, as much as you choose to. So there we go. I need to go now. This is DearMamaSal saying, remember to slow down. Remember to slow down. Going faster won't necessarily get you there faster. Remember, some things will stay on your to-do list for 6 months, as did my printer. Understand that some things you think are critical for tomorrow are not critical at all. And so what I say to you all is, be gentle with yourself. Slow down and be happy. None of us knows if we will be here this time next year. None of us knows whether we will be here this time next week. So take some things off the list and spend a little bit of time just relaxing. This is DearMamaSal saying, love you dearly. Continue to look after one another. But most of all, please remember to look after yourself. You are useless to anybody else if you don't look after yourself. And Jody, feeling guilty will not change anything. It will just make you a real pain to live with. This is DearMamaSal saying, bye for now.